Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. We are top of the table, and this show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. My name is Sam Shinazzi, an OG from 2015. 10 years of podcasting for everyone, and one of the great times to be a Shark, top of the table after 8 rounds, 7 games. And a man who is so happy about this situation that he decided to spend millions and millions of dollars. He sold his 2 houses. He shipped up his wife and kids. And he now is living in a bachelor pad with a official yellow jersey. And that thing just sends shivers down my spine. In the words of Nick Cave, I'm going to see later on in the week. Kieran, welcome to Catching Up with Kieran for coffee about Cronulla or something.
Hey man, it's an exciting time, and not just because I finally got my hands on a yellow jersey, but the Sharkies are looking absolutely unreal at the moment, and it's really rare that we get those sort of ruthless performances, and we've sort of seen them 2 weeks back to back now, and it's Derby week too, right? So it's just a great time to be a Sharks fan.
Yeah, officially Derby week. But before we get there, phenomenal. And the completion's just near perfect for so much of the game. And that's why we're winning games. Absolutely love it. Not a bad player out there. We had a new 5'8", Dan Atkinson. What did you think about him?
I thought he went really well. I mean, he's a really different style of player to Tricky. But again, he defended well. He was in everything. He kind of just kept popping up in on all the right places. He really reminds me a lot of Connor Tracy in that sort of style of running that he has. But again, he looked like a bloke that has been, playing first grade for a really long time. And that's really the first time he got more than a handful of minutes. So, that's pretty exciting for us. But it's going to be a big test this week because it's going to be a big crowd, Shark Park. And, yeah, really looking forward to it.
I thought our forwards to start the game were not being talked about enough in two senses. Number one, the backs were doing all the work, so that was incredible, but we know that. But I thought Tall Tom Hazelton and Oregon Kafusi did a really solid job opening up. Stats aren't amazing, but the physicality, the presence, I don't think we're talking enough about those two guys.
Well, they did such a great job. In that first 10 minutes, I think it was, there was zero, stoppages. Like it was 9 minutes, 10 minutes of ball in play, right? And so for a guy like Tom Hazelton of his size, he didn't slow down at all. And, he almost got a double. He's been unreal. I think he's been, if there was a most improved player in the competition award, I think he's definitely put his hands up for that title. And Kafusi, he just goes about his role. Like he's not a flashy guy. He controls the ruck really well. He gets through his work, and then he just disappears, and you don't see him. And then we bring in that bench that just kind of steamrolls forward, and then he's in there for the end of the game too. So he's a real sort of tradesman-like player. Like he just gets his job done.
Now, we do know several people who were at the game yesterday, but I'm going to bring in one of them now, the most passionate Sharks person at the ground, dare I say, without offending everyone else, Mr. Michael Langridge, all the way from the ACT. How is the ACT this morning, my friend?
ACT is good, mate. Bit chilly. People are hurting after their team scored 0 points. But yeah, no, it's really, really great to be there. How good's Kieran's jersey? Have a go at this. The yellow jersey.
Don't
unbelievable.
Don't encourage
No, that's a winner.
No, it's not a winner, actually.
It's
0-1. 0-1 in the yellow.
Yeah, but, for meme value, unrivaled.
There is value, I'll give him that.
Yeah.
In 100 years' time, they'll be digging that one out of his closet and saying, what is this and what can we do with it? And someone will go, I'll take that for $1 million.
Well, when I die, you guys have got to reach out to my wife and make sure that she just doesn't throw out all these clothes or just donate them to Vinnie's, because there is some gold in this Sharks jersey collection that I've got.
I don't want to get too morbid on a Monday morning when we're top of the table, and I hope this is 100 years away, if not more. Is there a chance you're going to be buried in that thing?
I would love to get buried in. I'm actually looking up right now in front of me, and when the Sharks won the comp in 2016, I got one of the framed jerseys that's signed by all the players. I'd love to be buried in that.
All right, we're getting too morbid.
That would be
getting too morbid. It's okay. I don't need to know what you're going to be buried in. Why'd you go there, Kieran? Michael, tell us about the atmosphere today, the Atmos.
Okay, so the atmosphere, new experience for me. We took my 6-year-old Charlie and our 3-year-old Harvey along, so that was a new thing. So first family game. Okay, the atmosphere at the start was quite subdued because of the Anzac ceremony beforehand, then mixed in with the Viking clap. So the crowd was sort of dead almost.
Yeah.
And then there was 10 minutes of uninterrupted play, where, you know, each team's going 20-20. And then once Cronulla scored the second try, when Hazelton just went past Tuppeny as if I was defending him, the Raiders fans was just like, oh, no, this is done. So it was really quiet. Like, it was so quiet that even the PA guy yelling about, you know, Macca's, you know, 5 minutes try time scoring thing, he even just, like, for the last 20 minutes of the game, they didn't have any announcements. It was like being played at a park, and we were rolling them. It was awesome.
What is the PA situation like down there?
Oh, well, you know, it's a standard stadium, but that guy likes to yell about stuff all the time, you know. So there's Macca's power play, you score in the 5 minutes, everyone gets free McDonald's. Yeah, he was off. The Raiders fans were very subdued. They could see their team was doing nothing with no halfback. They were bereft of ideas, and we put the cleans through them, and it was great.
Now, what do you boys think about this notion that is coming up like a tidal wave? The Sharks haven't beaten anyone real good, and we're coming first, and after the Dragons, we have a bunch of really good teams. Like, I actually think it's all factual, but it's also circumstantial.
Yeah.
And a lot of our wins have been, like, against the Warriors was terrific, come back from the dead. Against Canberra the first time, come back from the dead. Against Canberra the second time, smash them. Cowboys smashed them. So I think in all of the games we've played, aside from the one asterisk, it's been pretty good. But I understand the, you know, where the news people are coming from and all that kind of thing. But I also think there's an element of truth there. I think when we get to whichever the first game is, the Storm, whatever it is, it's going to be a bit of a test.
Oh, look, I agree. I think the longer the season goes, the worse that Warriors game looks, because I don't think they're that good. I think they got a great player, and we're getting him. They're not doing much for me, the Warriors. The Cowboys are poor. The Raiders are now, look, the first Raiders, that was a great win. Second Raiders, they are missing some troops, and without that halfback, they had nothing. So, yes, when we play the Storm away, when we play Chookies at Magic Round, and when we play Panthers, we need to be up for those games. We need to win a couple of them. Otherwise, all you'll get is the same, you can only beat the dud teams. You can't beat anyone good.
Yeah, but I also just think, like, you look at the Cowboys' performance against the Panthers on the weekend, right? Like, the Cowboys didn't start badly against the Sharks. Like, they were in that game for that first 20. It was just once our bench came on, we really just kicked past them. And again, yesterday with the Raiders, it was kind of once the bench starts coming on as well, right? So I absolutely agree that we've got, you know, some big tests coming up, and that's really going to be, you know, the determining factor of where we actually sit, especially Melbourne in Melbourne. That's a really tough place for us historically, just like Canberra has been, right? So I think that we're set up for a unique sort of season here, but I still think that we have actually beaten some decent teams. It's just we have made them look really poor because of how disciplined that the Sharks have been and how much moves they're making against these teams. Like, when they Sharks turn it on, they make it look really easy, and I think that also plays into that narrative.
That was the easiest win I think I've seen in years. Like, there was no pressure. As soon as Hazelton scored, I was like, I don't think we can lose this. No way. And it was extremely easy. But yeah, going back to the Storm, like last year when we played the Storm in Melbourne. They absolutely mugged us off, 50 points or whatever. We played this crazy, frantic, weird game of football and threw it away. So I'd like us to go down there and really, really go with them and play. And, they've been eking out 1-point wins and whatever. I want to see us go down there and beat them.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it's going to come back to playing that simple footy, completions, do it, let everything else do the talking. Our back five, unbelievable. What's the difference between last year and this year? Is it better defense, maybe, that's making them the complete picture? Because they were doing the same thing last year, to be fair, with the attack and with the run meters.
If you look at the edge defense with Wilton, I mean, that was something that last year we had a bit of issues with Moylan and Wilton and, Sipper as well out there. And teams were kind of, we might win a game like that against Canberra, but we probably win it 40-24, for example, right? Yeah. So this is kind of the first time where we're actually seeing that the Sharks have got their defense right. And they've actually got confidence in that now. And you've got a guy like Iro, who's also new in there as well. You bring in a guy like Atkinson, who is new to the system as well. Historically, that would have probably leaked a little bit of points because it's a completely brand new connection, new combinations. But the system that they've got, and I remember Craig was talking about it last year, and he was sort of saying that you don't fix this overnight, and the issues are not necessarily happening on the edges. They're happening further in field. And so now that our middle is actually, super powerful. Hazelton's absolutely killing it. Kafusi's doing a great job as well. That it's not creating all that space. And you also saw yesterday, there was times when Nico and Ronnie were shooting in, but it was totally planned. Like it wasn't a frantic, Sharks, they're panicking, sort of rushing in, right?
Yeah, there was no panic.
Absolutely. So again, I think that's kind of the thing is they've had 3 years now in this system. The roster is stable. The guys that are coming into the team have been around the system for a while. I think Fitz is finally getting his fingerprints on this team and this roster.
Now, let's look at the forwards. Tom Hazelton, 40 minutes. Oregon Kafusi, 57 minutes.
Yeah, he was on for ages.
Jack Williams, 41. Talakai, 30. Hamlin Welly, 17. Tuku Haitapua, 14. So those guys are still working their way back. Hamlin Welly, destructive runs, but only a few because he wasn't on there for very long. But, yeah, for me yesterday, the big surprise, not even surprise, but happy with the result was Oregon Kafusi, 57 minutes. The stats aren't that groundbreaking, like 10 runs, 91 meters, 31 tackles, 1 miss, just workmanlike. And I think he's made a massive difference to how we're starting games.
Yeah, he's certainly really settled into his role a lot better this season. And you can see that. And I certainly have a lot more confidence in him in how he's playing. But also having Tommy there with him, they've set a nice, solid platform in this starting role. Now, eventually you would think that Hamlin Uele and Toby will probably come back as the starters, but, for them to be doing this job and doing it as well that they are is a real credit to them, eh?
But I mean, sorry, Kieran, just interrupt. If we win, I'm not saying we're going to, but if we win 10 in a row, go off. Sorry about that. All good. All good. I was just saying with my low internet, if we mess with that team after 10 wins in a row, is that a bit crazy?
Honestly, I would just play the players who are playing the best in the positions that they're showing it in. If now the team works better with Tommy and Oregon starting and then those other guys coming on, then play it like that. It's, there's no need to move people just because of name or anything like that. Having a guy who's played 100 Sharks games coming off the bench with another guy who's played 100 Sharks games coming off the bench, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think the other thing as well is we've still got guys like Royce Hunt in New South Wales Cup. And it's now starting to get to the point where I don't know what happened with Toby, but, was that maybe perhaps looking at the Raiders team and thinking maybe Tooks is going to give us a better look at that time, because again, I saw Toby walking around. He was walking pretty freely. Looked like he had his thigh a bit strapped up, but it didn't look like it was anything crazy. But maybe it's like, all right, well, if these guys have a little bit of a niggle and they're not 100%, in the past we probably would have had to have played them. But in this instance, it's like, all right, well, now we've got these fresh guys that are good to go. Let's get them the experience. Let's get them out there.
Yeah, I believe a calf issue was the problem. Nothing too serious. I had a few people inbox me saying, "Is this related to the party last Sunday night?" And I went, "No, and don't believe everything that you read, especially on the internet." Breaking news, boys, from the judiciary. Only one gentleman cited from the Sharks game. It wasn't Ronaldo. It was Teague Wilton for a careless high tackle, and he's going to be just A-OK by giving them a little bit of money. So we're good for next week. Yeah. What else happened at the ground, Michael? Tell us about your experience. How were the kids? How were you? Tell us about things.
Oh, kids were pretty well behaved. There's a little bit of Harvey was a bit frightened by like the noise and the amount of people around, but he's only 3, so that's okay. Charlie's really liking going to the games. We've been to 3 Raider games this year, and he likes going along. So I'll keep taking him along to the games as long as he wants to keep doing it. But no, he was much keener on once Sharkies were winning and like he saw Dad was like pumping his fists and cheering Nico and that. He was quickly off the Raider bandwagon, and he was like, "Oh, now I'm wearing Sharks. Sharks are going to win. This is great." And then we sung the song about 30 times on the way back to the car, and then in the car, played it in the car for a while. So yeah, it was just a great day out, great family day out. Take the wife, take the kids, met up with a couple of friends, and you just go there and your team smashes the Raiders 40-0, never troubled. Unbelievable.
What was the representation like? It looked pretty good on the TV.
Yeah, we had a good crew there was a good like away crew in that corner, but then all around the ground there was a lot of Sharks fans. Like Sharks fans usually always travel pretty well to the Raiders, like a good smattering of people, especially when they're doing good. Like we're top of the league at the moment, so like you might get a few more coming out to see them. But yeah, certainly like if I come and I bring 3 people with me and I meet another like 5, and then that's if a bunch of people are all doing that, there was a fairly healthy support for the Sharkies. There are a lot of people waiting for like signatures and photos after the game. A lot of people waiting at the Shark bus. So yeah, no, it was great.
And you got a few selfies I saw you got one with Dan Atkinson.
Yeah, Dan Atkinson, Tall Tommy, Kyle. Is it Kyle or Kyle Hero?
Yep.
Kyle Hero. I want to say his name correctly. I also saw Adam Dykes out the back of the grandstand, so I got a photo with him. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so he was strolling around probably after Newtown had played, so I quickly went up and said, "Hey Adam, can I get a photo?" And then he was gone again. My dad saw Luke Lewis and Andrew Moore from the ABC radio in the car park, so he said good day to them. But yeah, it was just a great day out. Nice weather, not cold, easy Sharks win. You can't ask for anything more.
Now, on the review episode I did last night, I think I skimmed over Blake Island. So, Kieran, why don't you lead us in a short segment, about Blake Island? How do you think he went? I thought he was pretty good yet again.
Once again, it's him bringing players onto the ball is just something that we haven't seen in the past from him, and that running and that scheming. He totally took control of that game. And I think with Trindle being out, he actually took on more responsibility and was really working with Nico on where they wanted to go and where they wanted to attack. Because sometimes in a game like that, when you are putting on points so easy, it can be a bit frantic because you're just trying to score all the time. But again, he was just dedicated, played a role, got out of dummy half, brought the forwards onto the football, and he is really starting to come into his own. So, I was talking to our friend Terry this morning. I'm looking forward to seeing him this week. And I think he's even starting to join us on Blake Island. So I thought it was a great performance from Blake. And again, defensively, he's been unreal.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, RCB?
Oh, he's playing so much better this year. My criticism of him was he sort of didn't do enough, but now he's doing those things that I want to see. He's taking runs from dummy half. He's, like Kieran said, bringing the players onto the ball a lot more, and he's using his experience and using his sort of knowledge that he's learned over these few years to, like, he's really improved. He has definitely improved, and because he has improved and because he's doing more, that means Nico has to do a little bit less, and that's better for the team. You can't just all be on one guy. We don't want an army of one. We want a complete across the squad performance, and Blake really stepping up this year. He's improved out of sight.
What did we make of Dan Atkinson? I thought he was solid, did everything he had to do, not flash. Question is, to both of you, are we going to need to see more out of him, or if he does that role, will that be enough?
I think that'll be enough if they play like that. If Will and Nico and Blake are playing like that, I think Dan really only has to do his job, which is when there's meters to be run. If he needs to take a kick, just kick it. Make sure you make your tackles. He didn't need to do a lot against the Raiders, but if we're playing that complete game, which I believe we can, especially next week in St. George, then I think he's fine he's going to be fine in that role.
And I think he'll get a bit more confidence too as he starts to find his feet. I think if he add up all the minutes that he's played at the club, he's probably played like under 20 minutes across 2 or 3 games. I think there was one game where I think his debut at the Sharks, he got on for like literally 1 minute. So yeah, I think the longer he's sort of there, it's going to be good for us. Again, he does have that level of familiarity with Nico from their time at Melbourne together. So that's obviously a plus. And I think because he kind of does play like that fullback style, which is kind of similar to what Nico can play as well. It just gives us that extra runner. And I don't have his run meters in front of me, but it felt like, him and Nico did a lot of running yesterday. And it's just that relentless attack that we were kind of doing in 2022, where you've just got these halves that are just constantly asking questions and just running the ball and going crazy. So, yeah, I think he's got a little bit more in him, but I thought it was a great performance from him, and he again looked like a first grader, which is the theme of these guys that we bring into the 17 is they look like they've been there for a lot longer than their actual game show.
Well, that was his first full game at the club, and he played very well. I thought, he didn't put a foot wrong, he didn't make any dumb errors, he made his tackles, he nearly got over for a try. I don't think you could have asked for anything else really. So yeah, no, he was really good. And he, not having Trindle there, it was not missed. And that's what you want. You want the next guy up to be just as good.
Yeah, he's going to have to be because Trindle will be missing for at least a month. We're not sure the exact circumstances. It'll be at least 3 weeks, maybe more, but that's a whole other matter. But he ran for 106 meters. Nico ran for 111. So that's pretty good from your halves to run for over 200 in total. And we saw some sneaky intercepts from Nico Hines, apparently onside. And they're pretty good with that sort of stuff these days. So he was man of the match, right?
Yeah, I think so. That was a real dominant Nico performance in everything that he did. His link up work to put tries away, his 40-20, the intercepts, that was a lot of that was a product of the absolute slow service out of dummy half that Canberra had. And so basically he was like, well, I'm onside. Now I'm going to be in the line. Oh, you're still going to throw it to me. Amazing. Nico was fantastic. Like the way that when we made a break, so second half, Iro made a good bust, and then we straight away he calls for the ball, he zings it out to the right, and I think it was Nikorima went through, and then we got the try from Ramian to Katoa. We didn't waste that opportunity. He just goes, right, give me the ball, I'm going to distribute it out here, and we're going to score. and that having half play like that is fantastic.
And the other thing I thought it was his defense, and it was last week as well. And I don't know if I've got the right stats here, Sam. You probably have more accurate ones than me. But, I'm looking at something that says he made 25 tackles out of 26, so he only missed one. And, they were going at Nico at the start of the game. If you look at that first part of the game, it was basically their whole game plan was to try and just throw forwards at Nico. And, again, he was super physical. It's 2 weeks of really great defense. He's really answering those questions that people have had about him in the past. But yeah, he's really starting to find his feet this season because it was a little bit quiet at the start.
Yeah, I've no doubt he got all the Dally M points and will keep shooting up that ladder. So we move on to Derby week, lads, or a very special week for the three of us. And RCB's good mate Shane Flanigan has already had some shots fired after losing or conceding 60 points in a game. He then has the cheek to turn it onto the Sharks, which is a genius move, of course. The ultimate deflection. How did you feel, RCB, when you heard what he had said? Did it affect you at all?
Look, here's the thing. He's done that for a reason, right? His team cop 60 in the biggest game of the season for them in the regular season because, ends that day. It's a big event. They play the SFS, a huge crowd, and they conceded 60 points. And, to be honest, I thought they were going to be a lot better than that before the game. For him to come out and sort of, what did he say? He said, I haven't circled it on the calendar, blah, blah, blah. They haven't won since I left. Well, yeah, no, okay, we haven't won a comp since you left. Why'd you leave? You don't bring that up. I mean, this is a guy, right? This is a guy. He's the coach of the first premiership team, and it is very arguable that he did more harm than good. So, I mean, whatever, man. Stick to your own stuff.
Kieran?
It was classic Flano, right? I mean, we had him at the club for such a long time, and we've kind of rode those waves with him. And he is the master of getting a team that is not maybe there to getting up for a certain game. And there was games where we played the Dragons, and the Dragons had a red hot roster, and we bashed them, and the Sharks got the win, right? So this is his grand final. Don't listen to anything that he will say this week because he will have them breathing fire literally for this game. If he wins one game all season, he wants it to be against the Sharks at Shark Park because, I don't know Flano personally, but from watching him from afar for many years, he seems to take things quite personal and is a little bit of a bitter person because I don't think he forgets anything that he perceived as being unjust to him, despite maybe some of his failings or flaws. So this is something that he is super, super excited for. And the Dragons will be up for this. It's going to be a great game. And I think the fact that it's at Shark Park and it's right before we go on this run of, some pretty tough games, it's just absolute perfect timing for us. The Sharks are 82-6 in the last 2 weeks of football. Now they're going into a derby at home. It's Sundays. It's going to be rocking there. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it's a great time for us, as you said, but I have no fear about beating these guys. The only fear is I don't want to lose a derby and I don't want to lose on this current run. But
yeah,
as far as a team goes, even without Trindle, say we're missing Toby again, I'm not saying we will, but say we are, there's no fear there. The Dragons can score a good try. You got to protect the kick defense against Lomax. What else? I mean, there's Ben Hunt. I mean, it'll be fine. I'm not worried about that. But, the Flanigan stuff was interesting. A lot of people got really offended by it. I thought it was pretty funny and kind of good gamemanship. It's good for him, for his club, to show that he's got a bit of spirit in him and he's not going to let the media focus on the 60 points, which they didn't. All they did was talk about the upcoming derby, which is ridiculous. And it makes it kind of personal as well, because I can tell you right now that you won't hear Craig Fitzgibbon talk about it, but he's going to mention it in the dressing room and he's going to let them know it's a derby, and he's been on one side of the derby. He knows what it's like. And it's going to be another game where he's not going to make it personal. He's going to be like, you're top of the table. You're winning. That's it.
Yeah.
But I don't think those comments are going to go unnoticed because he's a very proud guy. He lives for the Sharks these days. And I think it's set it up real nicely. Like Flanigan's, he's like the boxing promoter. He's set it up real nice. And the heavyweight champs are coming in, the Sharkies. And you got like the barroom brawlers being flattering to the Dragons, looking for a knockout punch, and they're not going to get it. But it's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
Yeah,
you know what style the Dragons are going to play against the Sharks, right? You know that they're going to try and drag us down, stop starts, not let any momentum, not let Nico run. They're going to try and do things that are sailing on the edge of illegal just to try and get the upper hand. This is the Shane Flanigan ambush, and we've seen it for many years at the Sharks, and it defined our club for such a long time. And people were saying that was Sharks football, and when Fitzy got here, and when John Morris was here, they were saying they're not playing Sharks football. So now I think that's really Flano football, and that's what the Dragons are doing. And he salvaged a few wins early in the season already for them. So full credit to everything that he did for us at this club. He set us up for success, but he also did a lot of damage too, right? So. I just can't wait. It's going to be a great day. Hopefully the weather's really good. I haven't checked yet.
Yeah, I hope the weather's good for people. I just want to smash him now. Really, this really adds to it. Him being there and like mouthing off, we need to beat them every time. While he's the coach, do not let him win one.
I'll give you a weather update. Kieran, you're coming to the game. Bring your yellow poncho.
Oh dear.
I just
had a look.
Starting Tuesday, rain every day.
Oh dear.
Sunday is a 55% chance. Nice and cool, 13 to 17. Good derby weather. So whether that affects the game or not, I can't tell you. I imagine we prefer a drier pitch, but we'll be fine. It doesn't really matter what's happening there. It's great. Derby week is special. I can't wait. I can't wait to smash them. It is a little bit more personal for the fans. For some fans probably don't think of it the way the three of us do. But it's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Now, boys, we've got a shorter episode today just because of a whole bunch of different reasons. But before we go, we can't let this moment pass without playing the second week of Random Shark of the Week. And now I have two of the sickest, most depraved Sharks fans mentality, knowledge, students of the game right here, the dirtiest players of the game, if you will. Now, on my side of things, not a lot of thought has gone into this. Now, that doesn't mean it's an obvious person we're going to pick. It just means I picked someone and I stuck with it, and we're going to go for it. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to mention a few things, and if you think you know, you may answer. I don't want 4,000 names coming at me. You probably get a certain amount. And if, for example, RCB gives me like 25 guys in a row, we might need to let the other guy call it. But we'll see how we go. All's fair in love and war. And this is War, Random Shark of the Week, Week 2. Born in 1982, okay? Born in 1982, and he's a local junior. He debuted for the Sharks against Manly in Brookvale.
Jai Malane?
No, not Jai Malane. He has played a total of 5 NRL games. It sounds like the guy last week. 5 NRL games, okay? So born 1982, local junior, debuted against Manly in Manly, and he's played 5 NRL games. I can tell you all 5 were for Cronulla.
Andrew Dallalana.
You have a sickness, my friend. You're depraved. You just.
He was going to be my answer before Jai Malane, but
you're a sick human.
God.
I mean, RCB. I'm sorry, brother. Like he just got you. I feel like we
He's
need to
got
go
a
again with
knowledge of
someone.
every single guy. It's
Yeah, it's a
amazing.
sickness. I
Who
wish I
gets
could
it in?
monetize it in some way. But
That wasn't even rigged or set up.
he was a favorite of mine because I used to come down and watch some of the under-20s stuff with my grandpa, and I remember watching him absolutely carve up in 20s. I think he's involved with the club. I think he's a lower grades coach, right?
You're telling the story, my friend.
I think so. I think he had something to do with the 20s, either this year or last year. But we saw him when we were at Our Father Cafe a few months ago. There you go.
I'm gonna. You know what? It's not fair to RCB. We're gonna roll again. We're gonna have 2 random sharks of the week right now.
No, he's just going to beat me again.
Nah,
He's got
you
them all
this
on
one.
Rolodex.
You got this one. Let me just look up this gentleman as we do live radio, as they say.
Daniel Morocco.
No.
I tell you what, one random sharky while Sam is just doing his research here was Carl Lovell. I saw he's a member of like one of the Sharks fan group pages on Facebook.
He
gets in there and he comments.
He's a bit opinionated, I think, Carl.
I
he gets
stood
out
next
there.
to him. I stood next to Carl Lovell. So the year was Toddy was playing. So 2012. We were playing the Warriors at home. It was when Flano first came back after his first little bit of mucking around. And he was, to say he was loose would be an understatement. But yeah, he really lived up to that crazy Carl Lovell nickname. But yeah, he was on one that day.
Well, I mean, look, you never know who your next guest is going to be, so we're just going to say we love Crazy Carl Lovell. But now we have a different random shark of the week, only because we have a special guest on and we just can't let him go without at least having a shot. It doesn't mean I want you to take it easy on him, Kieran. So if you know, you know. Here we go. Born in 1978. 78. His junior club was the Wellington Cowboys. He played for 2 different NRL teams, so Cronulla and someone else. He debuted in the NRL in 1998 against the North Sydney Bears at Shark Park. So let me recap for you. 1978, he was born. He's a Wellington Cowboys junior club person. He debuted in 1998 for the Sharks, and he's played at 2 different clubs, okay? What else can I tell you about this gentleman? Total number of NRL games, 35.
Jesus.
Brent Gross?
No. Not Brent Gross.
1998 debut. Sam Eismunger.
Oh, it's not, but I love that human being
I
so
love
much.
Eismunger.
Oh my God, I loved him so much. What else can I tell you? 8 tries in his career.
Is it Wellington, New Zealand or Wellington, New South Wales?
I'd have to Google that. I'm not sure.
Okay. 8 tries. Well, this is good radio.
He kicked 29 goals.
Blaine Stanley?
You just have this sickness. You're a sick human being,
Jesus
Kieran.
Christ.
Blaine Stanley is our second random shark of the week.
You love the randos.
Yeah, it's a real sick hobby that is getting exposed here. That
So
I don't want to say out loud.
Goal kicking
You
gave it
just
away,
sit there
did it? Or?
reading Rugby League Project forever.
Well, I do spend a bit of time on there in my past, but the goal kicking was something that gave it away for me. And it was the other club he played for. Was it the Dragons? Was it or South?
Get it together, Kieran. It was South.
There you go. So
Yeah, see,
the other one that was going through my head was who was that forward that played for us and then went to South? Luke someone. He was
Oh,
like a
Luke
real
Stewart.
workhorse. Luke
No, he
Stewart,
played.
yeah, he was one of
He
those.
played heaps of games. Yeah, he
Yeah, he
played for
played
ages.
long for these guys. So
With that great
yeah.
try in the 0-1 Dogs final.
He did.
Yes. And then we had some pretty lean years, and he was like the shining star over at South. And we were kind of looking at him, saying, "Why did we let him go? Haven't times changed?"
No, I'm not laughing
Yeah.
at that. I'm laughing at the why did we let that guy go that I see every week on social media. How can we let this guy go?
The Chevy Stewart ones were going crazy the last couple of weeks. But anyway.
Well, fellas, we're going to wrap, but I cannot thank RCB enough for joining Kieran and I on Kieran's show. Really appreciate it. Great to get some insight into your local derby, the Raiders Sharks. We're all over the moon that you got a win down there. We know how much you don't like that football team. And yeah, man, we'll get you back on the show when we can, and we appreciate you. You are literally the OG listener, so we definitely appreciate that and your support. And we wish you and your family well. Kieran, we will see you at the derby, which is exciting.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully the weather's not too bad, and you get down to maybe one of the breweries or something like that before the game.
All right, you bring the jersey, I'll bring the scissors. Okay.
I'm definitely not wearing this jersey. This is a player's cut jersey, and it is Paul Gallen's. So I don't have the same physique as Paul Gallen, so it might look normal up the top, but it looks very different in other places. So I'm definitely not rocking this one out in public.
No, you can bring a different jersey, and we'll cut that one up.
Done.
And we look forward to everyone having a great derby week. We'll get some more episodes out to you when we can, and we're in the thick of it. We're top of the table. We are loving being Sharks. It's not without its adversity, but they're showing real heart and soul, boys. Like just the week they had, the training sessions I'm hearing were really good, but they obviously will be better this week because the focus will be a lot clearer. Your main leader, your co-captain retiring on the spot, your 5/8 gone. That's a shock to the system, all in the space of the same day. Like that's crazy. So to come out, put 40-0 on, I think it's a really good advertisement for the way that the coach is going about things. And anyway, we will talk to everyone soon. Thanks so much. Sorry about the internet dropout. Sorry for the occasional cough, but this is what we do. This is SharkCast Pod. It's not going to be perfect, but it's from the soul. Kieran, RCB, love you boys. We will talk to you soon. Everyone else, let's play the song. Enjoy your Monday. Up, Cronulla. Oh, let's go.